Let's take a look at Autocheck. It's a command line tool that allows you to automatically check for patterns against a set of files or executables and generate a report to quickly view the results. It can be a very useful time saver when marking programming assignments. Let's see how it works in practice. The first step is to install Autocheck. Check out the README on GitHub for the installation instructions. Now suppose I have this marking folder with a single student submission and a marking guide. The marking guide shows these 5 checks that I need to perform for each submission. With AutoCheck, I can automate every one of them. To do that, I need to write a JSON file specifying the checks. Here, I've written a checks.json file with the list of checks that I want to run. Now for context, I'll open it on the side so we can see the marking guide at the same time. Each item in this list is a translation of a check that I need to run. So the first one is the file check. So I need to check if there's a cover sheet or a README. To do that, I specify patterns for the files that I want to match. These files, if found, will be embedded in the report for me to view. So the first pattern is any PDF file that is in any folder, or any image file in any folder, or any text file or markdown file in any folder. The second check is a similar file check, but this time we're matching code files. So any header file, any C++ file, and any make file. Now check 3 is to make sure the submission compiles when running make in Cygwin. To do that, we use a command check. So we specify what command we want to run. In this case, it's make clean and then make. Then we specify that we want to run it in Cygwin. When you do this, you have to specify the path to Cygwin's bin folder, which I have done like so. In check 4, I need to make sure that when the program is ran with a certain argument, it doesn't crash or segfault. So I use another command check for that. And then I specify the executable that I want to run and the arguments that I want to provide. And I also say it should be run in Cygwin, like we did above. Now for the final check, I need to make sure the program produces the expected output. So for that, I use a mass check, which allows me to specify the expected output and the actual output. In the expected output, I specify that we want to read a file, and this is the file, which is just a simple text file that has the data that I'm matching against. Now in actual, I say I want to capture the output from the check whose label is runs. So this check. So it's going to take the output of this check and compare it against what's in that file. And if it matches, it's going to show in the report. If it doesn't, it's going to show me a diff of where the differences are. You might have noticed that some of these checks have an if property that allows us to conditionally run a check. So for this one, we say we only want to run this check for the expected output if the runs check succeeded. And similarly, down here, we only run this runs check if the compiles check succeeded. So you can chain checks like this, and if the compiled fails, then runs will be skipped, and that will be shown in the report. So now that I have a checks.json file, I can run Autocheck. To do that, I'll just open a terminal. Here we see that I am in the marking folder, which has this student submission and my checks.json file. Now I can run Autocheck like so. I specify the checks.json as the first argument, and for the second argument, I specify the folder that I want to check. I do that and press enter. So Autocheck went ahead and ran every check. So there's 5 of them. And we can see these all passed and the last check failed. It also generated the report in the Autocheck reports folder. And this HTML file is what we're going to open to view the report. So I'll just go back to my marking folder in Explorer, open the new Autocheck reports folder, and double click that file to open it in the browser. Here I can see the report that Autocheck generated for that folder. So each check creates a separate section in this report. I'll just collapse them all. So these are the 5 checks that we ran. You can expand and collapse a check using this button on the right here. And for the file check, it shows you what patterns it matched and any files that were matched. So in this case, we found an assignment cover sheet and we also found a README. So you can click these files to preview them in the browser. So that's check 1. For check 2, we see the patterns that were searched for as well as the files that were matched. Now on the top right here, we see it shows us 1 of 8. So we can click left and right to page through the results. And because these are code files, they're all going to be syntax highlighted. Moving on to the next check. This is the first command check. It shows that the command was ran in Cygwin. It shows what command we ran, which directory was used. Dot in this case just means the target directory. It shows us that we didn't use any input file and that the exit code was 0. Now on the right, it shows you the directory that it ran it in, the command that was ran, and the output of the command. Now we go on to the fourth check, which was the run check. So it shows that this check succeeded. It was ran in Cygwin. This is the command we used, no input file, and exit code of 0. So as before, it shows the path, the command that was ran, as well as the output. The final check here is the check for our expected output. In this case, it shows that the check failed. Just expand that. It shows us what we specified for expected and actual and whether or not the match succeeded. In this case, it failed, which means we get to see a diff. So instead of a D, the student had a C. Instead of a 9 there, there's an 8. So those are the only two differences. You can click a split diff to see it side by side, or unified to see it one line after the other. So with these results, we can now mark the student. So imagine you had a lot more submissions, like 30, 40, 50, thousands even. You can just run Autocheck against all of them, and all of the reports will be generated in this folder, making it quick and easy for you to go through, examine all the results, provide feedback to the student, and leave a mark according to the marking guide. Thanks for watching. Check it out and let me know what you think.